Here's the brief news from the world over this week. More trouble for Planned Parenthood as two more undercover videos were released this week. They appear to depict Planned Parenthood officials participating in the procurement and commercial exchange of fetal body parts. In the latest video, a Planned Parenthood doctor discusses how to avoid the perception that they're selling fetal parts. Dr. Savita Gind, a VP at Planned Parenthood of the Rocky Mountains, suggests that potential contracts should be designated as research rather than a business venture. The third video, released earlier in the week, includes in grisly detail the dismembering of an aborted baby harvested for its desired parts. Planned Parenthood continues to say it has done nothing illegal and that the videos are misleading. A Los Angeles court has since issued a temporary restraining order preventing further releases by the Center for Medical Progress, the pro-life group that produced these undercover videos. And violence by Boko Haram in Africa continues to spread. On Monday, at least 29 people in two Christian villages were killed in northeast Nigeria. In Cameroon, suicide bombings and beheadings claimed 60 lives over the past week. Cameroonian officials Sunday ordered the closure of mosques in the north and banned child beggars after an attack involving a 10-year-old posing as a beggar. Nigeria's new president, Muhammadu Buhari, visited Cameroon to show support for a new multinational army opposing Boko Haram. Niger and Chad are contributing to the force as well. Could some of America's first settlers have been Catholic? The question is being raised by historians and archaeologists after unearthing newly discovered artifacts in Jamestown, Virginia. Jamestown, besides being the first permanent English colony in America, is also the site of the first church in the colonies, an Anglican church. Now, all of the first settlers were believed to have been Anglican until now. The Jamestown Rediscovery Foundation unearthed the remains of several leaders of the settlement. Found among their remains was a crucifix, rosary beads, and holy medals. A small silver box was discovered with the body of Captain Gabriel Archer, one of the settlement's first leaders. Dr. William Kelso explains the box's contents.
It had in it a broken holy water container known as an ampulla. And bone, and that's often put together to make a reliquary because the bones were said to be that of a saint.
Captain Archer was also buried in a hexagonal wooden coffin with his head pointing east, a possible sign that he was a cleric. James Horn, president of the Jamestown Rediscovery Foundation, speculates that Captain Archer could have been the leader of a secret Catholic cell and even possibly a secret Catholic priest himself. And in Australia, two measures legalizing same-sex marriage will be introduced in the parliament there this upcoming August. According to reports, the legislation would pass if Prime Minister Tony Abbott were to allow his Liberal Party members, that means Conservative down under, a free vote. Abbott and the Liberal Party as a whole oppose same-sex marriage, and parliamentary rules require party-line votes unless stipulated otherwise by the party leader. Meanwhile, the opposition Labour Party has pledged its support for same-sex marriage and will be requiring all party members to eventually join in that effort. For the next 2 terms of government, members will be allowed to vote their consciences. And the Boy Scouts of America announced on Monday an end to their decades-long ban on gay scout leaders. The group's governing body concluded that the exclusion of gay adult leaders was, quote, no longer legally defensible. The decision was approved by 79% of the Boy Scouts Executive Board. While the national ban has been thrown out, the board will allow church-sponsored scout troops to exclude gay adult leaders based on their faith's religious convictions. Churches and other religious organizations sponsor approximately 70% of local scout troops. And the decades-long battle over a 40-foot cross on the grounds of a Veterans Memorial in Southern California could be coming to an end. Built in 1954, the Mount Soledad Memorial with its cross has been a fixture in San Diego County. However, in 1989, an atheist sought the removal of the cross, questioning its constitutionality since it occupied public land. The Department of Defense, veterans groups, and the courts have been wrangling with the issue ever since. Now the United States Defense Department has sold the Mount Soledad Veterans Memorial to a private organization. Part of the 2015 Defense Authorization Act, it is hoped that the transfer to private hands will end the legal battles over the cross's existence. And a few court decisions of note this week. A federal appeals court has ruled that pharmacists in Washington state must dispense Plan B and other emergency contraceptives in spite of any religious objections. In 2007, the state adopted rules mandating access to Plan B, which also acts as an abortifacient. But the state allowed individual pharmacists to refer patients to other pharmacies if they had moral objections. The three-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals said that was not good enough. Noting the time-sensitive nature of emergency contraception, they said in their ruling that the referral itself could lead to feelings of shame in the patient, and that could dissuade her from obtaining emergency contraception altogether. And a judge in San Diego has rejected a lawsuit challenging California's ban on doctor-assisted suicide. Superior Court Judge Gregory Pollack noted in his decision that the plaintiffs were asking the court to make a new law, and that new laws should be made by the legislature or by a ballot initiative. Isn't that novel? Earlier this year, the California legislature rejected a bill legalizing doctor-assisted suicide after the Catholic Church, disability groups, and the League of United Latin American Citizens lobbied against it. The plaintiffs have promised an appeal. And Oklahoma's Supreme Court has reaffirmed its decision that the Ten Commandments monument on the state capitol grounds must be removed. The court had found previously that the 6-foot monument is a religious symbol, and it must go because it violates the state's constitutional ban on using public property to benefit any one religion. Supporters of the monument say they will now seek to pass a ballot initiative amending the state constitution. And a monument originally intended to stand next to Oklahoma's Ten Commandments monument has debuted in Detroit. A satanic group unveiled a 9-foot-tall, 1-ton bronze statue of the devil this past Saturday. The Satanic Temple, as they call themselves, is opposed to religiously themed displays on public grounds. They say their display is as much a sign of their devotion to Satan as it is a monument to free speech. The sculpture depicts Baphomet, a horned goat-headed symbol of Satan, flanked by 2 adoring children. According to Reuters, a few hundred attended the unveiling. Detroit will not be the final resting place for the piece. After failing to secure a place next to the Oklahoma Ten Commandments display, the group plans to bring Satan to Arkansas, where they intend to set it next to a Ten Commandments memorial near the state capitol in Little Rock. Satan, I guess, is on the move.